Hi guys, it's Matt here from MCS-books, and today I'm here to talk about the books that I was sort of given and I bought them myself for my birthday. Now when it comes to my birthday, I don't tend to ask for specific books, but like I don't think, like my family isn't one that, you know, writes lists and gives lists out of things we want, and we kind of just, unless there's like a specific thing, like when my brother moved into his new house and he had his birthday and he asked for like specific things for his house, unless things like that happen, we don't tend to ask for things. We just kind of think about what we want to give to each other and what we think the other person would like. And I like that. I think, you know, I like putting thought into the gifts that I give to people. I don't like, I'm rubbish at giving presents because I tend to just not tend to forget people's birthdays and things. However, I do like putting thought into the presents that I do get from people. And what I like about receiving books from people is that like it gives you a real insight into how they kind of see you and how they perceive you by the sort of book that they give you. And so it was interesting because like in my Easter Reads video just before my birthday, I asked you to write like a recommendation for a book down in the comments below, and it was really interesting to see the sort of books that people recommended for me, to kind of, and it, you know, it gives you the idea of how people who watch my videos know me quite well to recommend books that they really think I would enjoy, and the sort of books that were suggested were ones that definitely are the books that I enjoy. So then when it's family giving me books, they know I read. I don't tend to talk about all the books that I read with them. They don't watch this channel or anything, they just sort of guess. Like a lot of my family enjoy reading. They're not as big readers as I am, but they do enjoy it, so they have like a sense of books, I guess. I don't know. But it was interesting to see the books that I received from them, to see how they kind of like, or what things they pick up on that I like, and then how that translates into them in choosing books. So this is quite a big preamble, but let's get to the books. I'm going to start with the books that I received first. So from my dad, I got 5 little black classics. Now I think he's realised something. He got me 5 little black classics for Christmas also, and then he's got them again for my birthday, so he knows they were a success. He knows that I enjoyed them, and he knows that, you know, they're just like nice little tidbits. Like I said, they're perfect filler books, between books. They're the sort of perfect pickups that you could just have and just read a brief thing of, and then kind of like get a sense of other bigger books that you might actually then enjoy. So he got me 5 more. First off, he got me the Dhammapada, which is considered to be sort of Buddhist text and the teachings of the Buddhist way and stuff. And I have already actually read this, although I didn't like it too much. I think I just don't like organised religion that's been written down. I had some very uncomfortable moments, which is funny because I always considered if I had to choose a religion, Buddhism would be the one I chose. But reading this, well, you know, I wasn't convinced. And then the second one is the saga of Gunnlaug Serpenton. I'm not sure how to say it, but this is like from an epic saga from some Viking poets. So it's just Scandinavian travels in search of a woman. Helga the Fair is her name. So it's just a little excerpt from that greater book, and I think it's going to sound interesting. And then the next one is 3 Tang Dynasty poets. So there's, of course, 3 poets from the Tang Dynasty in China, and I guess this is some of their poems. So there's not much else to say about that one. And then there is Marco Polo's Travels in the Lands of Serpents and Pearls. Now this is an excerpt from Marco Polo's book where he travels through India, and he's just writing about his travel. So it could be interesting, that one. And then the final one is Leo Tolstoy's How Much Land Does a Man Need? And it says on the back that the text that this is originally from is considered by James Joyce as the world's greatest story. I haven't actually read any Tolstoy, I haven't read any Joyce either. So this could be a good like way in. I'm sure many people, I know particularly Davide probably has read Tolstoy. So yes. So obviously you can see here that these are definitely the sort of books that would interest me. You've got like the Asian travels, which of course is I enjoy, and I like learning and reading about them. And then also the Viking saga. I think obviously he bought me that because, you know, I'm studying in Sweden, although I'm not in Sweden at the moment. And then of course Leo Tolstoy. That was kind of like the curveball. I was like, oh, I was surprised to see it, but I am excited to read all of them. And then my aunt and uncle then got me a book, and well, my aunt kind of said when I opened it, because I laughed when I opened it, and my aunt said that she also laughed when she saw it and thought that it was perfect for me. It's a non-fiction book. It's called How to Argue with a Cat by Jay Heinrichs. Quite simply, it's a human's guide to the art of persuasion. So I think it is kind of about how to form an argument and how to like express critical thinking through the act of argumentation. However, I think it's just done in quite a novel way in that it's getting tips from cats and how a cat would do it. Yeah, I think it makes sense why my aunt and uncle picked this out for me. And then my brother and his girlfriend bought me a book and a magazine. Now I think it was probably my brother's girlfriend that did the buying, because I know she actually texted me a picture of this book a couple of months ago, just being like, oh, this sounds really good, have you heard of it? And I said, oh yes, I have heard of it, haven't read it, but I have heard a lot of good things about it. And that is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. Of course, I don't really need to say anything about this. People on BookTube have spoken about it quite a lot. I am super keen to get to it. Hearing people talk about it is certainly the sort of book that I do think I would enjoy. Obviously, everyone just assumes I like East Asian stories, which is true. I do enjoy them. So it'll be interesting, I think, to read this and to learn about Koreans living in Japan. Also, David Mitchell loved it. So that's definitely a good thing. And then the next thing was the magazine that they got me, and I had never heard of this magazine before actually, but I think it's like the sort of perfect magazine for me. So I was really surprised, and I think, you know, it gives away that sort of artsy, filmy thing that I enjoy and I like. And I should have asked where they found this, because I might want to pick it up again in the future. I might have to subscribe to this. So it's Little White Lies, and it's Truth and Movies, and I know that they have a website in which they just do like sort of movie reviews and things, and then this is their, I think it's bi-monthly publication, in which they choose one specific movie to sort of discuss throughout the magazine, and then within that they do also like talk about other movies or other upcoming things and film events and stuff. However, what I like is that the focus on the movie usually takes in also the actor or the director and kind of does a study of them too, and they're all done with beautiful artwork. And I looked at like their sort of backlist of magazines and they all look stunning. This one is obviously about the Isle of Dogs by Wes Anderson. I'm a big Wes Anderson fan. It's the same sort of style as the animation in Fantastic Mr. Fox, and it examines some really nice sides of the film and Wes Anderson's work, and I'm really interested to read all the articles in them. I think they all sound great. There's not like ones that I would prefer to read and others that maybe I can just skip over. I want to get through it like page to page of this magazine. And then next I have a big tome. This is from Davide, and he got me Blankets. So it's by Craig Thompson. It's a graphic novel, and it's the entire graphic novel. But the artwork in it does look really cool and fantastic. And I've been saying for the longest time now, I've been saying I want to get into graphic novels, but I just didn't think I had the reading. I'm going to put it down because it's so heavy. I didn't think I had the reading skill for graphic novels. It's not something that I'm used to, like reading in that style. And there have been times before where I've read like or I've seen a few pages from comics and stuff, and then I get a little bit confused as to which things you have to read first and whatnot. However, Davide does enjoy reading graphic novels, and he also wants me to get into them, and he has kind of kindly given me this as a gift. And it's interesting because he did also say that after watching my video of 8 things to do in my 26th year, and one of them being to read stories from people with a very different background to me, he chose this one as one that I could use in that. And you know, I said in the video that I didn't want it to be particularly like, or I didn't want to define a different background only by ethnicity or birthplace and nationality. I want to like explore other different backgrounds, and Davide said this one covers that side. It is American, however the main character and the author or the artist comes from a very religious background, and it's all about sort of the way that the religion kind of shapes his coming of age years. That's what I get, at least. So it's going to be interesting because obviously I don't come from a religious background. We've been quite a secular family. So they are the books. Sorry, I'm having a little tea break now. They are the books that people bought for me, and then I've got 4 books now that I bought myself. Do you know what? Bloody, I swear they watched my video. I didn't get a single book voucher. However, I did get some money, which I just automatically assume. This is the thing, if I didn't get any book vouchers, when I get money, I treat them as book vouchers. I'm like, I can only spend these on books. So the first 3 books are books that I got for £20 from my grandma. Yesterday, my grandma, my mum and I went to one of my new favourite towns in the UK. It's a town called Totnes, and we went there because I was doing some research for university in a museum there. But we went and we spent like the day in the town and explored it and had lunch and everything. It's such a lovely town. If you are ever in Devon, definitely go to Totnes. Since I was with my grandma, we went into the independent bookshop in Totnes. I think it's just called the Totnes Bookshop. And I spent the money that she gave me for my birthday with her, so you know she could see that where the money was going to. And I bought 3 books because it was 3 for the price of 2, and I am super excited for all of them actually. The first one I got is this. It's Death in Spring by Mercè Rodoreda. It is the first book of a new set of editions from Penguin, and it's called like the Penguin European Writers. And there was somebody who was working within Penguin, kind of, they have studied French and Italian quite a lot, and through that, of course, they know a lot of French and Italian literature. And then what with Brexit and everything going on, this person felt very impassioned to bring European literature back to the UK, but like taking some of the modern classic writers that have perhaps now gone under the radar and been forgotten. So this one, Mercè Rodoreda, she is a Catalan writer. I think she was born like just a bit after the turn of the 20th century, and she lived through, you know, a very tumultuous time in Barcelona, and she did have to live in other countries, and it's kind of this story itself is said to be a allegory for living under sort of the Franco era, like under a dictatorship. I love the sound of this story. It's a coming-of-age story. So it's about a boy living at the bottom of the Catalan mountains, and he's coming into age after his father has died, and he's learning sort of the way that conformity is projected onto society and how he kind of deals with breaking out of it. It sounds exactly the sort of thing I am interested in reading. And then I bought this one, The Erstwhile by B. Catling. Now this is the sequel to The Vor, and I think the only reason I got this was because it was 3 for 2, so in my head this was the free one that I didn't have to spend any money on. And do you know what? So I read The Vor, and when I read it I didn't enjoy it, but after finishing it, it has stuck with me all this time, and I'm constantly thinking about it, and I'm actually learning, like I see bits and pieces of historical figures that were mentioned in the Vor, and I hadn't realised that they were actually real people. And I know that in this book he explores real historical figures and places a lot more than he did in the Vor. So I want to go back and read the Vor and kind of like recontextualise it and kind of form my own opinion again, and I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot more by rereading it, and then I can read this one, which I am super excited for. The Vor itself is set in like an unnamed jungle in Africa, and it's like this massive forest which is called the Vor, which kind of like has a sort of life of its own, and then there's a German colonial town just outside of the forest, where a lot of our characters go to before going into the forest, and it's all, there's no real way to explain it. It's all, nothing much happens, yet it's tense throughout. You don't really know what's happening or what's going to happen, and the characters are all flawed and selfish, yet trying to fight for some sort of greater good, but you don't know what the greater good is, and you don't know if there is a greater good or if they're all just doing it for nothing. And I don't know, it was so haunting, that story, and the writing was very well written. It was very slow though, and I think that's what probably put me off when I was reading it the first time, that lack of speed, that lack of action. However, it is definitely one that has lingered, and I think this one could possibly be in a similar vein. And then finally I bought The Accusation by Bandy. Now these are forbidden stories from inside North Korea. Bandy is a Korean word for firefly, and it is of course a pseudonym to protect the writer who still lives in North Korea. So these, you know, are highly politicized, highly illegal texts within North Korea, but they have been published now in the West for us to read them to get an insight into life in North Korea. I think it's going to be a powerful read, an important read, and I am definitely looking forward to it, but I do feel a little bit scared. I do feel nervous. Also, this one is translated by Deborah Smith, so she is the translator for Han Kang's work, so of course I think the skill of the translation is also going to be something which really makes this powerful and impactful. And then finally, I got a little bit of extra money from my dad, and I went into my local independent bookshop with Davide, and there was a reason, like in the smaller independent bookshops, there is, you can request books to be brought into the shops, so then you can buy it. But however, you know, when I'm there, I just want a book straight away. So I was thinking about all the books that people suggested to me, and the bookshop didn't have any of them. But then I did find this one, which was massive on BookTube, and particularly YA BookTube, and I was hoping that it was going to be like one of the good YA books, and that is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. And I am, as you can see, probably 2/3 of the way through it now. I really, really, really wanted to like this book, and I thought it was going to be one of the YA books that really, you know, was worth the hype. Where I am at the moment, it's not. I am enjoying it, kind of. However, you know, it's not worth the hype. There are a lot of problems with it that I think I will talk about in a later video. And yeah, so these are all the books that I have been given, received, or bought myself with birthday money. And let me know what you think. Have you read any of these, or do you want to read any of these? Do you have any of these, and what do you think? Oh, and if you do have any of them and want to do a buddy read, then let me know in the comments below, and we can arrange that and sort that out, and I'll be excited to read them with someone. And yeah, that's all I've got to really say for this video. It was a kind of a more chilled, chatty one, and I shall see you next time for another video. If you like this one, you can always give it a thumbs up, and you can always subscribe if you haven't yet already. Bye bye.